Welcome to our MasterMine webinar here. This is Rob Makalek. I'm the developer of MasterMine for GoldMine, a tool set for managing GoldMine and essentially making GoldMine a much easier product to work with for coordinating your your GoldMine-based sales, marketing, and delivery, and everything that you do with GoldMine. So I'm on this afternoon to talk with you about GoldMine itself and how you can extract the information that you need from GoldMine on a timely basis so that you can work with it in an ongoing way. And I'm going to set the stage here a little bit by talking about the ways that we presume that you use GoldMine. Now I'm saying this because MasterMine is a tool set that we're going to get into here that is used for reporting, data management, working with GoldMine generally. And GoldMine itself is used many possible different ways. GoldMine, of course, is a great way of supporting sales and marketing. It's a way of gathering information, usually in service to sales and marketing, but also often for customer service, for delivery of products and services, for coordinating really throughout the company. And I want to emphasize as I'm starting out here that what MasterMine does as a company is to support your use of GoldMine. What MasterMine, the product, does, MasterMine for GoldMine, does is make it easy for you to take that data that you've collected in GoldMine for all the different purposes that you do, again, usually in support of sales, but all those other purposes as well, and turn it toward making it easier for you to accomplish your goals with that GoldMine data. When we invited you to this webinar, we said, is GoldMine really giving you both the knowledge that should be coming out of your GoldMine in both the areas of who is in your GoldMine database, in other words, who are you actually working with, as well as what is happening with them? And those are two very distinct and very important kinds of information, and I'll try to illustrate ways that you can and should be working with your GoldMine data to more effectively get those. So I'm going to quickly move on here in the visual. Now today I've got Carnegie with me, who is my trusty sidekick, who's going to jump in and help me with questions as they come along. So if you have any questions or comments along the way, other things that you would like to learn about, really anything about this webinar that's not what you would like for it to be, or questions specifically to things that I say, please go ahead and put those in the questions dialog in the GoToMeeting dialog on the right-hand side of your screen, or presumably that it's also minimized so you can temporarily maximize it and place introduction about who we are. I mentioned that I am Rob Makalek. I'm the founder of MasterMine and the developer of the software that we work with, as well as a leading consultant in the GoldMine industry, just in terms of helping people to work with GoldMine better. We've been in GoldMine since 1999. That is to say, we've had the MasterMine for GoldMine product since 1999. So in the course of the years, we've seen over 1,500 companies that use GoldMine, and when I say seen, I mean not just looked briefly at them, but really seen how they use their GoldMine. Because what we do is we dig in and talk with you about how well aligned is your GoldMine to the actual reality of your sales process or your marketing process or your whatever it is that you are using GoldMine to support. How closely aligned is it, both in terms of the screens, the user interface screens that you see in GoldMine, as well as the data that's behind the scenes that's supposed to support what you're doing. If those are not closely aligned, then there's something wrong and you need to get that fixed. As I mentioned, we've had direct experience with many more GoldMines besides the 1,500 that have adopted our MasterMine software. I'll sort of leave that to say what it says. And we provide currently active support and data management through the MasterMine product for over 350 GoldMine using companies. And as I mentioned, we are an authorized GoldMine dealer. Specifically, what is MasterMine, the tool set? we essentially, what MasterMine the toolset does is help you to manage your GoldMine better, and it does that in 3 key ways: by providing you a easy way to create and use reports, by actually manipulating your GoldMine data and giving you the tools to manipulate your GoldMine data. When I say manipulate, we're talking about actually updating and managing the database that's behind GoldMine to, again, more closely align it with what you're trying to do in your business, and therefore the third leg of the stool here, process management. We help you with getting GoldMine to do its processes more efficiently, more easily than you probably were even aware was possible. And we do that by marrying functionality that's in Excel with GoldMine, and I will demonstrate that here for you in just a moment. MasterMine is seen by its users as an essential tool for working with GoldMine. As you see in the quote that I put up here, MasterMine, for a lot of our users, MasterMine, it's just hard to imagine effectively managing GoldMine without MasterMine. There's a reason that she said that. If you've been running GoldMine up until now, whether it's for a matter of months or a matter of years, you will quickly find that being able to access your GoldMine data more effectively through Excel sometimes and at certain levels is far more effective for reasons that you can probably imagine in advance, but which I will demonstrate, far more effective than the one-by-one way that you're probably approaching your GoldMine data right now. So our agenda for today, we're going to talk about what GoldMine knows that you need to know and how you can find out that information. We're talking about really different levels of GoldMine usage or GoldMine understanding. So first off, I will go into customer and prospect facts. That is simply the information that you have in your GoldMine data that's typically at the top part of the screen, as well as some of the information that you might have on custom screens if you've got them. You know, what are the static, well, there are static or even recently found out facts about your customers or your prospects that presumably your salespeople, if they are effective, are going out and finding and accumulating in GoldMine so that they have the knowledge to be able to sell your product or service. That information should be being gathered, and I'll show you some typical ways that can show up in GoldMine. And then secondly, what is the activity that is being done to reach out and serve those prospects and customers? If you're thinking in terms of our business, you know, whatever your business might be, is to serve and reach out to your customers, help them to understand how you can help them, obviously, but also to serve them so that they keep on coming back to you as a provider, then your GoldMine should be an ever-increasing warehouse of information about those prospects and those customers, and you need to turn that warehouse of information into actual information you can use. The next layer, of course, is looking into that database and figuring out not only what are we doing, what needs to be done. Where are the holes in our outreach or in our service to our customers, and how can we address that quickly? Hopefully, if you've got GoldMine, you intended to accomplish those things. Oftentimes, though, what we discover going into a company that doesn't have MasterMine is you're not really effectively able to do those things except on a limited level, and you're really working through the memories of the people who are involved. You're not really using your GoldMine to support it as well as you probably should. And then finally, if the data itself that's in GoldMine, if you were to look into it and not find out what's going on, what's truly going on in reality, then that probably means that your data in GoldMine is not reflecting reality. How do we get that fixed? How do we get that organized so that it truly does support what you're trying to accomplish? So that's our agenda for today. We're gonna talk about that some, and we're gonna come back and wrap up at the end and take questions. So with that, I'm going to switch over. Let's look at GoldMine. So we were seeing a demo database, this is a small demo version of GoldMine here. Now it's set up, it is customized. It's not just simply GoldMine out of the box. I want to point out a few customizations in here. Now to start with, we've got user-defined fields. We've got our key fields up here in GoldMine where we differentiate, as you probably do, between customers, prospects, vendors, and so on. We've got, in this case, an industry field that indicates what industry is our our various prospects in. If you work in only a single industry, then you would obviously be using this field for other purposes. We've got a score field in here, A, B, C, D, or X, that simply is our sales reps estimate of what is the importance of this. Now, a score field could be many things. It could be fed from other information. You could actually do lead scoring based on objective criteria that are contained in GoldMine, and it would be easy for you actually using MasterMine tools to come up actually come up with scores and inject those scores into this field, and that all by itself might be a starting point for you working with MasterMine to get more value out of your GoldMine data. Hey, if we actually had an objective score for our leads, then we're not just in some undifferentiated fashion calling everybody that we can call and trying to sell to them. We could actually call the highest value leads first. And I'll talk a little bit more about that process here later on about, okay, that's fine once you've called them once, but how do you make sure that you're calling them on a timely basis and so on. We've also got a sales rep field here, obviously who's that assigned to, what campaign did we find the leads through, and then some other fields that I'm going to suggest are ones that are potentially you could also use in your database, but you probably don't because it's too hard to keep this information current. The MasterMine tools will actually make it possible for you efficiently to keep this information current so that, again, you're prioritizing your calls well, you're getting the right follow-up at the right time, all as a result of using your GoldMine database itself a little bit more cleverly and more usefully. This information, I'm not going to go through into this in any detail, but this information includes past sales information on the bottom, year-to-date sales, maybe last year's sales, what's the dollar amount and the date of the last time they bought something from us. Think about if your GoldMine database actually had this information right up at the top, or something analogous. You know your own business better than we do off the top. Whatever your business is, what key information, if it were at the top of your screen, would assist salespeople to either find new leads, to activate leads into being real prospects, or to move prospects to being closed customers. Account potential, in this case, I'm just pointing this out because I'll use this in the reporting examples. Account potential is might be the sales rep's estimate of the total amount that we might potentially sell to them. Or if you have the kind of database where that already contains all the let's say the prospects that are in your industry, and you're just trying to work through that database more effectively, then collecting this kind of information, or having your sales reps collect this kind of information as they reach out, short of actually making a sale, does still give you valuable information that you can use in your follow-up and in your marketing and so on. Okay, just wanted to sort of get you oriented in the GoldMine that we are using here. Now I'm going to step a little bit further and talk about how do you understand what you have in your GoldMine database. Now most of you are probably well aware that you've got things like a search center inside GoldMine. So if I wanted to know, just a raw list of who's in my GoldMine, I could go in here and say, here's all the ones that, I don't know, start with A. And you can choose which fields show up inside of your GoldMine. And this gives you kind of crude lists that you can work with. You can even refine them somewhat in that you can go in here and choose, only show me the ones in a certain region if the data is accurate in GoldMine. If it's not, that's a different problem that we need to fix. So that's the search center. So that's kind of that, plus your dashboards that are built into GoldMine that really are kind of not fully, not the sort of thing that you would, out of the box, your dashboards don't really tell you exactly what you need to know for your particular business. I'll sort of leave it at that. We can come back and talk about dashboards if people are interested. But that basically are your only ways of having some overview of what you have in GoldMine. I'm going to introduce a new way of doing this. Now, I'm going to start off by actually creating a report. Now subsequently we're going to look at a couple of additional reports, but I'm going to do this, what I want to do is first illustrate for you how easy it is the first time you use MasterMine to actually dig into your GoldMine data. And what I'm doing right now is something that I would do with you in an online demo of MasterMine, digging into your GoldMine data. And we would do this to start with just to get an overview of what you have. Now, I've already pointed out what the custom fields are here in GoldMine. You'll notice that our create screen for creating a new MasterMine report parallels exactly what a user sees in GoldMine. So you don't, as a user, you don't need to know if you're going to create reports. It's not an IT function anymore. It's an actual user of GoldMine function, because you don't need to know the underlying data tables. You don't need to know all that technical stuff. You really just need to know, hey, I want a report that shows me at the contact level what's in my database. Now, just showing you is one thing, and of course we're going to use this to interact with GoldMine some, but I want to keep it very simple to start with. We will go into reports that really use the activities in GoldMine that are based on that, or that go into opportunities, projects. All that stuff is possible. There are templates built into MasterMine, 150 of them that anticipate all kinds of needs associated with GoldMine management, GoldMine sales management, but in addition to that, things like marketing management, GoldMine administration itself, lots of different functions that are associated with all the things that you're trying to do with GoldMine. So I'm going to create a report here that contains, as you see by default, our key fields over here. I'll also grab our last year sales field here because I want to include that. Let's see, here's our year-to-date sales. I actually wanted our last year sales. Now, by default, by the way, we show the fields in order that they were entered into the database, because that would tend to leave things that are similar or related near each other, but we can always alphabetize those fields so that it's easy to go here and say, well, let's get our last year sales, it's LY sales, so that field right there, and I'll create this report. I'm just going to call this main contacts overview, because at the moment I'm just going to give you an overview of the database that we've got here. Again, this is our first step that we would probably use, and that you might also use when you demo MasterMine, to just see what it is that you have and understand, what are we grappling with here? Is this database a mess? In which case, let's fix it. Or is it already well ordered? In which case, let's dive right in and do some reporting. So I have 376 records in this demo database. If you have 30,000 or 300,000, this will still work just about as efficiently and quickly. So everything happens very quickly with MasterMine. What we're using here, as I mentioned before, is Excel, and we are using pivot tables plus a lot of integrative software that helps it to talk back to GoldMine and continue the communication between Excel and GoldMine. So the fields that I had checked on when I originally created my report are over here on the right-hand side, and so it's very easy for me, for example, to do a breakdown of my database by contact type and, let's say, the industry that they're in. That is an immediate, 2 drags and drops, and I have a report that tells me something. And by the way, if I were going to do this in using the GoldMine report writer isn't capable of this, but Crystal Reports is kind of capable of doing something sort of similar. Might have taken you maybe 10 minutes to accomplish it, and would have required you to have a good deal of knowledge about the underlying databases and tables. I just want to illustrate the difference here. This is immediate. It's end user controlled. So if the end user says, I've got my report, it breaks down my leads by contact and industry, but really I don't want all the industries, I only want a few of them, so I'm going to filter on, let's say I'm going to filter on the engineering ones. You can actually, an end user could actually learn in a short session with us online how to manipulate this so they can focus just on the engineering ones and instead use that dimension across the top to, let's say, show the sales rep. Very easy kinds of user-controlled functionality to control and understand what it is they're looking in the database. Now, this is just a summary view, right? We're actually counting the records in GoldMine that have these attributes. So Tina L has 10 leads in the engineering field that are prospects. What are those 10? Well, this is still interactive. Unlike a Crystal report, which would just give you the number, and then if you wanted the further detail, you'd have to go back to your Crystal report writer and pay them to create a new report that shows you the list of Tina L's prospects in the engineering space. Here, all I have to do is double click on a number, and I will see the detail under it. Double clicking there on that 10. Here are those 10 leads, and I'm still linked back to GoldMine, so it's very easy for me to drill through right back to the GoldMine record. Owen System Providers was the record I was looking at in the report. I can pop right through into GoldMine. Now I'm showing you functionality here that just mean that allows you to interact with your GoldMine data, but it really all starts with easily having that information in front of you in a form that made sense that you could work with. So I've just sort of followed a loop from GoldMine into Excel, looking at data, but really never leaving the GoldMine environment. I'm still using Excel essentially within GoldMine so that I can interact with GoldMine in important ways. And this comes back to that question of, is GoldMine telling you what you need to know? Is GoldMine telling you what you have? Do you actually know what you do, sort of flying blind? I would venture to guess that if you don't have MasterMine, you probably are, to some extent, flying blind about what you have in GoldMine, as well as what's actually happening, what you're actually accomplishing and doing inside of GoldMine. Now, there are many ways in which this can be refined. I'm not going to go into too much detail about cleaning up these reports, about, for example, taking our typos or our misinformation that's in GoldMine and grouping it better to reflect the truth of what's in the database. But you can see very easily, just by interacting inside of Excel, we can actually clean up this information for report purposes very quickly, allowing you to see only the parts of the data that you're really interested in seeing within a report, and from there actually getting the information that you need, and then the final step usually is either getting back to individual records in GoldMine to actually take the next step and work with it. This report that I just created here, by the way, is a reusable report. I named it Main Contacts Overview. I could save it, close it, come back a week from now, open it up again, and without going through any of the steps that I did to get here to create the report, just opening up this Excel workbook will by itself refresh the data with current GoldMine data, and it's a very fast refresh. And so, right now you see it's refreshed as of this moment, right there. So one of the things that we will ask you to do when you start working with us is, you sort of shed some of your earlier notions about what reporting is, because reporting is now something that you can dynamically interact with in order to get the precise answer that you need in the moment, not just the last thing that the consultant left you with when they created a crystal report for you months ago that sort of gives you 80% of what you need, or something that's kind of like what you need but not really the thing that you need, and you don't have somebody on staff who can go in and tweak a crystal report to give you the exact answer, or somebody on staff who's got the time to do that sort of thing. With MasterMine, it's all much more in your control. Now, I've showed you a simple report. This is a summary. I'll do great. This can all be easily charted using built-in Excel functionality. Same information, but in a visual, in a graphically more telling form, potentially. So we've got graphical versions as well as the actual lists, or you might choose to actually show the full detail, not the detail as we made it when we drilled down on just a segment of our database, although this table in Excel is still interactive. You can still do sorting within here and choosing just certain parts of it, filtering and so on. You can do that. Do something that's in between the two, modifying your report to lay it out differently, to show you, for example, so if we've got, let's take our prospects and suspects, but let's give them the full detail that we want to see. Now, by the way, I cloned this report, so this is going to be my list view of this data. And on this tab that I just cloned, I'm going to show just whatever fields I choose to have. Company, contact, the sales rep is going across, but I'll add that as a field right here. And what was their last year sales, and what's our year-to-date sales so far. Pretty easy to build a report from scratch. Again, without any particular technical knowledge, it's just easy to drag those fields to where you want them to be. And as you're moving the fields in, the data actually updates. So by which I mean, unlike, say, in a traditional report writing environment, you are in one environment to write the report and in a different environment when you're actually looking at the report. This is you see the results immediately, so you know whether you did what you wanted to do. Did I want to actually have my year-to-date sales total at the bottom? Okay, let's put that in the data area, and we'll put the count of records that are in that company, for example, here, and the total dollar amount of our year-to-date sales at the bottom, a nice total, and formatting and all the rest of it. Okay, so I won't go into too much more about what you actually make with the reports, but I do want to show you some context for these. I'm going to go back to GoldMine. I'm going to close our Create dialog here, and I'm going to show you just some other examples. So what I was just on was the question of, is GoldMine showing you what you actually have in GoldMine? The second question that we sort of posited at the beginning here was, what is being done in GoldMine to actually what's being done in your company that's evident in GoldMine to indicate that you are actually reaching your prospects and customers. And what I want to do is show you, these are some other reports that I've created in MasterMine in advance. Every one of these is its own report. And I want to illustrate that by just opening these up, you are creating, you are, in quotes, running a report. So, for example, what's being done to reach and serve them? Well, let's look at our last contact dashboard here. So this is a dashboard that I've created. It's a little bit of a crude one right now, but it's meant to be, again, a way to quickly go into your GoldMine data and see not only who do we have in the database, but what are we actually doing to reach them. So this first view is just simply a sales manager's report that shows how many calls, well, actually, let's see what we've got here. Excuse me, calls and appointments have we made, or sorry, not how many, but what is the most recent date? Sorry, that's just the way we defined it from the template that we built this from. What is the most recent date that each of our prospects has been contacted by somebody in our company? Now, you can define what you mean by contacted. It might not just be what's the most recent date that we completed a call in GoldMine. What you probably want to know is, when's the last time a high-value activity was accomplished with them? Could have been a call, could have been an appointment, could have been next action in GoldMine or an other. But most importantly, what was the quality of the actual contact there? And if it wasn't a high-quality contact, then don't include it in this report. And the result of that is, if you think about your own database of prospects and or customers, if you had a report that showed you for every prospect that we have out there, let's say high-value prospects, high-quality prospects, when is the last date that we had a significant conversation with them? And these could be, it's your own estimation or your sales rep's estimation of what is the value of the prospect as well as what was the value of that contact. If you had that, you would be able to easily sift through thousands of possible leads and find the best one or ones that are the next ones you should be contacting. So in this view that we're looking at right here, this is by year and month of when they were last had a high value contact, including 101 that have no contact at all. It says none here because there was no contact with them. And as a sales manager or as a sales rep who's managing my own territory, I could easily identify who those are and what the quality of them is. Where did they come from? What was the last time somebody attempted to contact them? What do we know about them that's significant or that would impact my decision about whether this is somebody I should reach out to? All of that information can easily be present right here on the screen so that I can make a sensible judgment about who should I be calling today. If you're not using GoldMine in such a way that it makes it easy for your sales reps to follow up, your customer service reps to follow up on an appropriate timely basis, if your GoldMine is not making it easy for them to do that, we need to talk so that we can improve both your usage of GoldMine as well as your usage of the data that you're keeping in GoldMine. We can effectively help you to do that. A couple of further illustrations. Here's a list. This is actually a little bit closer to what I was talking about. This is just an alphabetical list of the leads in GoldMine that are customers, that are already customers, so we filtered on only customers and not the other kinds. by, these are ones whose last contact was in some year other than 2015, an earlier year. We've got a little bit older database here. So ones whose last contact was sometime early. Let's take out the create on date. We'll just go by the number of days since they were last contacted. Who's the responsible sales rep, and so on. Now, if these are A leads, if I ran this report against your GoldMine database and I found out, hey, there's a bunch of A leads in your database that haven't been contacted for many, many days, right away you would start getting value out of that because you would know who needs to follow up on what and why. And again, this is all so flexible that we can very easily define around what are your terms for what is a high value lead, what is a high value activity that might have happened with them, and so on. And any information that you have in GoldMine can be criteria for this kind of reporting. This is a last contact by user report, its purpose being obviously to be able to look at across your different sales users, sales account people, and see who's falling behind, who's not, where are the leads that really need follow-up now versus the ones that are not. And again, be able to do things like drill right through, let's say, to these records. Here's the 28 leads under Rob's name. Let's pull in the score field so I can focus really on my A leads because I want the top ones first. Here's the A leads. Rob's still got 15 A leads that haven't been contacted since 2014. Let's drill down on them. Here's a nice easy list to work from. I can double click to hard candy, make the phone call, complete the call. When I complete a call in GoldMine, indicating that I did a high value activity and it falls under history, then all of a sudden that will just simply fall right out of this report and my 15 will go to 14 and I'll just wash, rinse, repeat, get through my database, catch up, and start moving ahead instead of falling behind. The last view that I have in here is actually just what I did was I took our full list and I rearranged it. I cloned it over here and I rearranged it so that I'm sorting by the number of days since my last high value activity with the highest number at the top. So that allows me, now this 9887, that actually means there's never been a contact. So here's some that have never had a contact. They're still relatively high value ones, A's and B's, but descending by the last date that they were contacted. So again, I can just make that a priority and call them. Now, can you accomplish something like that, kind of like that, in the GoldMine that you have without MasterMine? You probably, with some imagination, could figure out some ways of doing this, of doing that particular thing. But what I want to point out here is this is only one of thousands of possible ways of attacking your GoldMine data, extracting information so that you know where you are, and then developing a quick, easy tool to follow up appropriately and get the sales process back on track. So that is a quick taste of what MasterMine can do for you in terms of reporting. I'm going to add one other layer, and that is managing GoldMine data itself, actually changing data from inside of Excel. And I'll illustrate that here in a moment, and then we'll come back and we'll summarize. So if you are, I mentioned at the beginning, what if you go to do this reporting and what you find is all you're seeing is junk in the GoldMine database, or really anything that was done in the distant past is not parallel with the stuff that was done more recently, so the distant past stuff isn't helping you any, and it needs to be either thrown away or it needs to be adjusted so that it really does support your decision making or support your knowledge of what's going on. We have done a lot of work to salvage GoldMine databases to make years of let's say low quality information suddenly become high quality information. And the way you do that is to take your GoldMine data and make it take the older stuff and make it conform with your newer ways of doing things. Take the information about, let's say, past sales or past contact information and sort it up into fields such as you see at the top of this GoldMine record here, so that the user can actually make use of it, and they're not hunting down through the history to find out things that really ought to be just right there at the top. all of these are things that we can do for you or do with you working with the MasterMine tool set. And we do this very, very efficiently, far more efficiently than you would ever be able to do it with your own, SQL queries if you're a SQL whiz, or with an outside consultant who will tell you, oh yeah, I can clean up your GoldMine database or do whatever. All you have to do is, set me loose on it for many, many hours. This is a far more efficient way of accomplishing those same things. So where I was going to go with this was to show you a subsidiary tool set here that actually allows you to take your information and change it in GoldMine. So I'm going to go back to that main contacts overview report that I created where I had a summary, and I could see, here are the ones that were in engineering. Actually, here I'm going to open that up because what I want to actually do is go back to where we had our, let's say, different versions of the word client in our database. Take that one back over here. Okay, so now what I want to do is show you how we're going to use this reporting tool also as a data management tool. Now I'm going to do this very simply with a key field in GoldMine, but what I want to indicate here is we could do this with any data that's in GoldMine, in your opportunities, anything in your user-defined fields, anything in your and your details, or really if it's in GoldMine, if you can get it into reports, you can typically manage it this way, in this way that I'm about to show you in Excel, very easily. History and pending activities are another great example of things that probably need to be mass managed, especially pending or calendar activities. If you want those to be easily, let's say reassigned between different users, or past due items moved up to current and the notes in them cleaned up, or so that you're directing people properly. These are all things that you can do effectively by simply going to the GoldMine data and updating it in an appropriate way. So I'm gonna go here with, and of course you can't do that with GoldMine itself. I'm going to go to these ones that we recognized had incorrect information. They don't say customer in the GoldMine field, and there's only 10 of these at the moment. If there were 10,000, we could do just the same process to fix them. I'm going to drill down, as I showed you before. Double-clicking on the number in the pivot table gives you the detail that's under them. But then we have tools, again, built into Excel that talk to GoldMine, that do things like allow you to change information in GoldMine, in Excel, maybe write down the page like that, and update that information over into GoldMine. So in this case, it would go right to the contact type field in GoldMine. There's no particular, no, this is a simple update, so we call this no special processing, but as you can see, we've got tools built in here for deleting some of these sub-records if you've got a bunch of junk that needs to come out, for managing the mailbox in GoldMine, the history in GoldMine, the email addresses in GoldMine, all the things that are fairly difficult to manage because of how the data relationships work in there. We've actually got tools that make it much easier to manage this stuff. And when you've made your changes in Excel and are ready to have those changes take effect in GoldMine, it just zips right down the page, and suddenly I've fixed those records in GoldMine. So again, when I double-click to McDonald Manufacturing, what we'll see in the contact type field will be, instead of CST, it will say customer. I was on McDonald Manufacturing, so I'll go there. You see that it says customer here in the actual GoldMine data. I'll just switch back to here and demonstrate that another key value of this is not only can you make fast changes in the GoldMine database, if you make a mistake, you can even undo those changes. So I'm putting this back. I'm actually messing up my data so that, again, when I double-click and go back to the McDonald Manufacturing record, you see it says CST instead of customer there. Now, I wanted to illustrate two things with that. One is, obviously, it's a little bit safer to make changes in a database if you can put them back, but also just that it is your management of the GoldMine data is just so fast and so easy to do that suddenly this thing that was very clunky and hard to work with probably is now going to be your most nimble and effective way of interacting with GoldMine. Of interacting with your prospects through GoldMine, And that's what's really exciting about this, is these tools will free you from a lot of the constraints that you may have been used to with your GoldMine database, where suddenly now you're able to turn this data into something that's valuable and supports your sales and marketing.
Rob,
So,
we have a question that came up.
okay.
Does that updating capability work on details?
Details. Yes, this updating capability works on everything that you can, as I said, anything that you can get into MasterMine reports, pretty much, you can use it to update other activities. I'll just sort of, or other activity, or other data inside GoldMine. So I'll just pull up the data, the updater dialog here one more time, just briefly. Just to sort of indicate that was an update to the Contact One table in GoldMine, but you'll see everything else that's in your details are actually in the Concept table, so you can reach them through there. But really, everything that you actively work with in GoldMine is accessible from here. Okay, any other questions, Carnegie, before I wrap up?
That's it.
Okay, I'm going to switch back over. Oops, not inside there, but switch back over here. Stay with me here, because I do want to talk about just a little bit more before we get to our questions. I want to talk, just kind of summarize what this means for you as far as using MasterMine to work with GoldMine. It means in the end you're able to monitor an activity and support your sale, monitor activity and that supports your sales in your GoldMine database. Processes, if you think about all the in-office processes that are probably really inefficient or not working well that involve GoldMine, there's just a lot of things. Marketing, marketing, uploading and downloading data into and out of GoldMine data from let's say an outside marketing service like Constant Contact or MailChimp. These are all things that you can do with MasterMine more efficiently. Make GoldMine itself more efficient by cleaning out the history that's old and isn't helping anymore, or cleaning out fixing, or what I call fixing people's mailboxes. If you're using the GoldMine mail client, oftentimes you'll find yourself with lots of inbox stuff accrued that needs to be managed more effectively, and that actually slows down GoldMine itself. And then ultimately sort of stepping back a little bit from what are you able to accomplish in your business if you make GoldMine work better. If you can build people's confidence in GoldMine instead of having it torn down by incorrect or incomplete data, then you're really ahead of the game. And you really need to have people's confidence in GoldMine in order to have them being willing to work with the overall system that you're setting up. And it's really about ultimately having real information in GoldMine so that you can decide things not based on guesses, but make decisions about who's the right next person to call, what's happening in our business as far as in a larger sense, our product mix. There's all kinds of great information in GoldMine, and all you need to do is mine it out and make use of it. And ultimately, that's what we're aiming for here, is to improve your sales and marketing results based on better usage of GoldMine itself. So just to summarize, why use MasterMine? For fast, efficient reporting at a very low cost, far lower than what it would cost you to pay consultants to do custom reports for you, certainly. But even if you've got somebody on staff who's just the greatest report writer in the world, they're not going to be able to compete with what you can accomplish with MasterMine working with GoldMine. Getting your data quickly fixed and maintained, I think we've covered what the values of that are. And that's what this tool does, is it empowers your GoldMine administrator to actually do all of the things administering GoldMine, as well as getting the useful information out of there that you expected all along. That's what this tool set does for you. So that we want those first three things, so that we get an efficient sales and marketing process and coordination of all that activity, so that at the bottom line you actually get GoldMine back on track, instead of being something that people complain about and it isn't doing what it's supposed to do, and maybe they don't want to put the information into GoldMine because it's not really supporting their work. Well, that's what we need to get around and really fix with your GoldMine, so you're really managing it better and using it. A quick offer for those of you who are here on the live on the call, or if you're watching this recording within the next couple of days, it's still available. We will do a 1-hour free guided test drive through your GoldMine data, working through GoToMeeting. It's very easy and simple. It's easy to set up. We will show you your own GoldMine data, really show you your company as viewed through your GoldMine data, and we can do that very easy. It's easy to set it up. Call our toll-free number there, extension 214, and schedule a call, schedule a meeting. That is the best and easiest way to learn about MasterMine. You can download it and start playing with it yourself, but playing with it is playing with it. It's not really digging in and understanding what you've got. A few suggestions about what you might use that hour for: do an analysis of your lead sources. Figure out by sales rep when was the last contact made with your key customers or your key prospects. Get a quick view if you're using forecasting in GoldMine. If you're actually forecasting sales in GoldMine, do a forecast that's not just your simple, the one view that you're normally sort of stuck with. Do it in such a way that you can break it down by product line, by salesperson, by time, whatever time segments you want to do. Really dig in and understand what it is that you've got going on through GoldMine. So that's our offer as your follow-up from this. So please give us a call right afterwards and schedule a time that you would like to see MasterMine working with your GoldMine data. It is cost-free. It is almost time-free. It'll take a little bit of about 15 minutes or so to set up MasterMine, probably less even, to download and just run it on your workstation. You need to have a workstation from which you've got access to GoldMine and that has Excel on it. You will also need to know, if you're not the GoldMine administrator yourself, you will need to know the SQL login credentials for your GoldMine database to get it set up. Once you have those three things, we can really help you an awful lot with your GoldMine. So I thank you very much for taking the time to meet with us today. My name and my number are at the top. We have a whole team here that's very willing and anxious to help you with your GoldMine. And by that I mean not just to show you the MasterMine tool set, but also to just help you with your GoldMine generally and help you to get to where you want to be in sales and marketing for the new year. All right, Carnegie, unless any other questions have come up, I think we are finished for today.
We had one more. Can you use MasterMine to, sorry, put on my glasses, to extract data for constant contact? I guess a constant contact import.
For constant contact? Okay, so good question, and yes, you can certainly use MasterMine as a way of selecting your lists for for uploading to constant contact. It is a great way to do that because you can simultaneously segment your list as well as get the particular information you're going to upload. And I'm going to suggest something that's even better, that's a little more eye-popping, which is the results that you get from constant contact, which you typically will receive in an Excel spreadsheet. And by the way, not just constant contact, MailChimp, any number of online marketing enablement tools. The results that you get can also flow right back using our updater tool right into GoldMine, so that now you've got, imagine that you send out marketing through Constant Contact or MailChimp, and somebody clicks on the email that you sent out and goes to your website. Well, that information, the fact that they clicked on that date at that time, can wind up being a history record automatically in GoldMine, again, feeding your sales process, so that your sales rep knows not only this person is likely to buy from me because they're in XYZ industry, but they actually clicked in our GoldMine database yesterday at 10 o'clock. And in fact, we can take it even a step further, and you can set up in GoldMine, let's say, automated processes that might schedule a call based on the fact that information got fed into GoldMine, or that might, really the options are kind of endless as far as what you want to do by way of follow-up from the activity that happens elsewhere. So great question. If you have any other questions about MasterMine and what it can do for you, if you're thinking at all in terms of, if this has sparked your thinking at all in terms of using GoldMine better, give us a call. Don't be afraid to ask us, can MasterMine do X, Y, Z? Oftentimes it's through the tool set. Sometimes it's just by using GoldMine better. Sometimes it's just a matter of rethinking what's the best way to set up how to do this stuff. So feel free to give us a call, and we're always willing to help. Our toll-free number is on the screen, and I want to thank you all very much for your help today, or for attending today, and Carnegie for your help today.
Well, thank you, Rob, and thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.